So we're going to go over some Browns news that broke. If you're familiar with my video yesterday, it is a hilarious coincidence that one of these things have come out. But yeah, a couple of things broke. We're just here to talk about it real quick. First things first is that Josh Dobbs has signed with the Cleveland Browns. So now the Cleveland Browns quarterback room is Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett, and Josh Dobbs. And it seems like in case that Deshaun Watson does get suspended, the Browns will have Deshaun Watson. Well, not Deshaun Watson, obviously not Deshaun Watson if he gets suspended, but they will have Jacoby Brissett, and the backup will be Josh Dobbs. Now, the reason this is important is because there were still some people as recent as a couple of days ago who were still talking about how the Browns, were telling us, hey, look, if the Browns, figure out that Watson's going to get a big suspension here, they're probably going to keep Mayfield. That's what some people were saying. I always found that highly hard to believe just because doesn't look like any side of this wants to stay together, right? Like if we look at this as a relationship, a business relationship between these two, a business partnership, there has to be some level of buy-in on both sides in order for that to work on any level. And it doesn't look like Baker has any interest in playing for the Cleveland Browns ever again. And it really doesn't seem like the coaching staff is interested, especially, right? Andrew Berry has sung a different tune, maybe because he has to. But when you talk to Kevin Stefanski, Baker Mayfield is nigh a thought to his head, right? Like he does not think or mention him as if he's a player on this team. It reminds you of the Ben Simmons situation. And this could honestly become a Ben Simmons situation where for those who aren't familiar, the 76ers had a star player, Ben Simmons, who kind of embarrassed himself in the playoffs by passing up a dunk and playing terribly in the playoff series. A bunch of things added up. And it led to some things being said in the post-game presser that Ben Simmons and his camp felt like they couldn't come back from. And Ben Simmons never played another minute for the 76ers after that game, right? And it got messy because they did not trade Ben Simmons in the offseason. They did not trade Ben Simmons until the trade deadline this year where they got James Harden. This might be that situation for the Cleveland Browns where, look, I think I said this when Odell was technically on the team, but not on the team anymore, where, hey, look, Baker Mayfield is technically employed by the Cleveland Browns, but he is not playing for the Cleveland Browns. He is not on the roster. This all but confirms it. Josh Dobbs being here, this absolutely confirms that the Browns, Baker Mayfield, they're set to go their second way because they're separate ways because Josh Dobbs, he's a legit number 3 guy or legit backup, right? He's not a guy who you want to start, but he's a guy who can come in there for a couple of quarters if you need him to, right? And maybe a game. But yeah, that's who they have here, Josh Dobbs. For those who don't know, former University of Tennessee grad, probably helps, right? Jimmy Haslam, a big University of Tennessee alum and booster. What he's really known for is just being, real smart, a coach's favorite type of player, right? I think he graduated with a 4.0 in college in his undergrad for aeronautical science. So, this guy literally does I don't know if he does rocket science, but he does advanced science. So that's cool to know. It's never really translated into his play. He's been Josh Dobbs as a quarterback. It's not anything to get excited about. What's more exciting about this, or what's more intriguing about this, is the fact that they're signing another quarterback. I would not be surprised if they draft a quarterback in the draft too. I would not be surprised there. I'm just saying it would not shock me if they drafted a quarterback there. Maybe a Caleb Ealerby. I would not be shocked. I would not color myself surprised if that were the case. But that seems to be the situation with the quarterback room. It's all but set. Look, we have known this for a long time here, that the Browns were going to do something at the quarterback position. And, there's been a certain group of the fan base that's been kicking and screaming and, trying to drag this thing along and acting like, trying to avoid the inevitable. Now the inevitable is staring us right in the face. And look, I would not be surprised, like I said in my last Q&A video, if this resulted in one of two things. One, either a Baker Mayfield trade is imminent and is going to happen either during or before the draft, or they're just going to cut him, right? I think they have decided that once they start to get into OTAs, they won't deal with this problem anymore, and they're going to cut him. Like, I think that's what's going to happen. It might happen first day of OTAs or something like that, or it might happen before that. But I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to be on this team past July, right? Like, I think he's probably going to be off the team in a couple of weeks. This signing kind of signals that. Another signing that the Browns did, and this is more impactful when it comes to play, is they have re-signed Ronnie Harrison, who had a bad year last year, right? Let's just call it what it is. He should not be available at this point in free agency. He should have gotten a big bag based on his play throughout his career, but he had a terrible 2021. They had to take him off the field at certain times in order for things to work. Now, hopefully in his second year, he can have a better result, and that's what we're all hoping for. But it sounds like he signed for the minimum. I don't know what the numbers are on this contract, but it wasn't anything worth posting. And when the agent doesn't post, that usually means it's the minimum. So Ronnie Harrison is back. I will reiterate some of the things that I've said the last time I've talked about Ronnie Harrison. Grant Delpit and John Johnson are the starters. Grant Delpit is a true free safety. I don't think John Johnson. Well, John Johnson can play a little bit of free safety. I'm fine with that. But Ronnie Harrison should not touch free safety ever again in his life. There's two positions for him, some strong safety, and really you want to have him as a nickel back, right? Well, a nickel backer, where he is one of the linebackers in a small set, or a dime backer or something like that, right? Where you want to get JOK out there with another athletic dude. Ronnie Harrison can do that. He could be fine in that. Maybe some goal line sets. He could be a bigger corner for some tight ends. But just having him out there in free safety, we've done that experiment with him. It did not work out. Hopefully, this not second run, but hopefully this year will go better for Ronnie than it did last year. He's a solid player. He's had some moments of brief excellence, but he's never really sustained it as long as you would like. And he struggled to find his way in a crowded secondary, right? It's crowded back there, right? We got guys like Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, AJ Green's been stepping up. MJ Stewart was here, but now he's not. Javonte Moffitt is going to be somebody, if the Browns still have the rights to him, who could compete for his spot. They also have other guys that they drafted, right? Richie LeCounte that they drafted. So, Ronnie's going to be in a little bit of a different situation than he's been the last 2 years in Cleveland, where he's just been a starter and it's been awarded to him. Now he's going to be battling a little bit. I don't expect him to drop all the way to special teams, but he's going to have to battle some things out. They're going to have a couple of special roles for him, but it's going to be a little bit of a battle here. But hey, at the end of the day, it's depth, right? And depth is never bad when it comes to any position group, especially DBs. I mean, we have seen in past years how many DBs just fall off sometimes, some years. I mean, look at the Ravens, right? It happened to us, I think, in 2019, and then the Ravens, it happened last year. 2020, the Browns had a bunch of their DBs go out, and then the Ravens last year. So every year there's a team that has the DB issues when it comes to injuries. So you always want to be loaded in that area. Ronnie Harrison is one step towards making sure that you're loaded in that area. So ultimately, look, it's not a big money signing. It's like bringing back Rashard Higgins. Hey, maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe he has a big year. Maybe he doesn't, but it doesn't hurt to have him here. And that's what I feel about this whole Ronnie Harrison thing. I don't think this puts the Browns over the top. It makes them like the best defense in the NFL. I've seen some people actually go that far with it, but I will be a little bit more reserved here. I think it's a good deal there. So the Browns quarterback room seems set with those three quarterbacks: Josh Dobbs, Deshaun Watson, and Jacoby Brissett. Might add Caleb Ealerby in the draft. And it looks like the Browns are starting to get onto their second run of free agency. So now that they're starting to get into that mode where, hey, we figured out our draft board, we're set there, we have our visits scheduled. Now let's get back to getting into free agency before all these guys get gobbled up after the draft. Now it's time to look out for that Jarvis Landry contract that could happen. Now it's also time to check out, what can happen with Jadeveon Clowney. Are the Browns going to come back and bring him back on the deal? This is around that time, right? I believe April 20th is when Jadeveon signed last year. I would not be surprised if around this time is when he does it, because this is when they start to do their second wave of free agency. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. Keep your hand on that mouse so you can click on that subscribe button, hit that like button and stay notified. Make sure you ding the notification bell and stay notified so you don't miss any of my videos coming out. We're going to do draft coverage. We're going to finish off whatever the Browns do in free agency. We're going to have film breakdowns, previews, all of those fun things that you like, especially if you are a diehard football fan, right here on this channel. Check it out. And if you want to see more of me, AFC North Talk is another place I appear live. So make sure you check all those things out. But that's going to be it for today. My name is Quincy, and I hope you have a good day and a great night.